ED101 Incorporated is a U.S. educational training consulting firm specializing in the creation, design, implementation, marketing, and assessment of educational and professional development programs for government, NGOs, businesses, foundations, and individuals. Our mission is to create, enhance, support, and promote educational programs that empower learners of all ages and prepare them to face the challenges of the 21st century. Eleanor Roosevelt once stated that great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. And today we kick off ED101's Engage series with that quote in mind, to discuss ideas in today's educational field in a format that is interesting and approachable for everyone. Using my personal hero, Benjamin Franklin's guidelines, we at ED101 seek with our Engage series to create discussions to be conducted in the sincere spirit of inquiry after truth. We hold no fondness of dispute or hold a desire of victory, but seek to prevent warmth, to avoid all expressions of positiveness in opinion, and direct contradiction. My name is Dr. Ted Mauro. I am the Educational and Training Director for ED101 Incorporated, based in West Columbia, South Carolina. Today we have as our guest Dr. Joseph B. Ryan, Assistant Professor of Special Education at Clemson University. He's a nationally recognized researcher and speaker on behavior management and seclusions and restraint policies for the schools.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Also with us from Live Feed in Florida is Dr. Merrill Winston, Director of Program Development for Professional Crisis Management Associates. He is a board-certified behavioral analyst, trainer, speaker, expert witness, researcher, and author. He specializes in the analysis and treatment of severe behavior disorders for special populations, residential, and educational.
Thanks. Glad I could participate.
On February 24, 2010, Secretary Duncan released a long-awaited review of state policies on restraints and seclusions, which noted that different approaches that states have on the issue of restraints and seclusions. According to LRP Publications, Congressman Miller on the committee, the House committee, recommended that the report shows us that while some states have made progress, overall state policies still vary widely. Joe, you've recently written a paper reviewing policies and also on restraints and seclusion trainings. Could you talk a few minutes about your work?
Yeah, I got involved in restraint and seclusion probably about 7 years ago. I wrote my first paper on it. I've written about over a half dozen of them now, book chapters and papers. Interesting part was, as you highlighted, was the difference or lack of guidance in regarding to the use of seclusion restraint within school systems. And that's been a key area of what I've worked with my colleagues, especially Reese Peterson in Nebraska, Mike Rosowski, Mitch Yell, and a few others across the nation at universities, trying to push for standardized legislation or guidance regarding the use of seclusion restraint in schools to hopefully eliminate, A, the majority of the misuse of these procedures, and B, reduce the injuries and deaths that are associated. As you said, you quoted from the Child Welfare League of America. And again, the Government Accountability Office has done 2 studies on this over the last several decades, and they came back both times saying, you know what, we really can't come up with an accurate number of injuries, deaths, or anything else due to limited reporting procedures there are across the states. And a lot of the manuscripts that I did with last several were investigating the policies that different states had. And it was interesting. You would call up because of the procedures we went through, looking on their websites, calling, the DOEs and everything else. And many times they didn't even know they had one. So in other words is when we did this several years back, only about, 30 out of the 50 states had one on restraints, even less had them on seclusion policies. And it wasn't very standard. And sometimes it's just a paragraph blurb. And sometimes it's an elaborate thing. Certain states, Colorado, Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Wisconsin, have very detailed policies and procedures for educators to follow. So if you're new to the system, we're dealing with kids with emotional behavior disorders, there's guidance for you out there. If there's not, teachers sometimes make up things as they go, and that can be very dangerous in regarding to the use of either seclusion or restraint, especially when it's used inappropriately. And I'm sure, as we'll discuss later, the majority of the deaths are from restraint procedures being done improperly or by untrained staff personnel. And, the number one cause of it is by asphyxia or suffocation. When, staff members especially, if you're not used to aggressive individuals, they put their body weight on the chest or the back of the student, and within, several minutes, they stop breathing.
And you make a very interesting point that in the health field, there has been guidelines. While these guidelines have not been created in the educational field. Merrill, you've trained people. I remember reading somewhere 77,000 people you mentioned you've directly or indirectly trained?
Not directly. We train instructors, so we've trained probably about 1,000 instructors, and they in turn train practitioners. So there's somewhere close to like 100,000 people that have been trained in our system. But I've trained about at least half of our total instructors.
Why don't you share with the audience a little more about yourself and what you all do at PCMA?
Sure. I'm, as I mentioned, a board-certified behavior analyst. I've been working in the field of developmental disabilities for about 25 years. The majority of my experience is with individuals with severe behavior disorders, adults and children with a range of disabilities. The last about 8 years, I've been working with the Professional Crisis Management Association, training individuals on our system for crisis prevention and intervention. And I also do a lot of consulting for school systems. I've been the behavioral consultant for Palm Beach County Schools for the last 7 years, which is the 11th largest district in the United States. So I'm in classrooms a lot. I work with teachers a lot. I work with parents a lot. And that's what what we've been focusing on the last several years is, like everybody else, we've been grappling with the issues about restraint. Not so much seclusion. It's just that every time somebody says restraint, seclusion gets thrown in there too. And we, as an organization, don't deal with seclusion. We do deal with restraint, but they're related issues. They're the same types of interventions, and they're used for the same types of reasons. And we've been grappling with issues of not just restraint in general, but the whole controversy about prone holding. We've recently written a white paper regarding that. And, and the paper goes beyond just do you do prone or not do prone. It really is more broad and talks about issues in restraint in general and when restraint goes wrong and the ways that it's misused, how it's misused, what makes things safe and less safe, and those things. So those have been the issues that we've been grappling with lately, talking with a lot of advocates, talking with a lot of parents, working with a lot of school systems in terms of assisting them in their policy. We assisted the state of Florida in the development of their policy regarding seclusion and restraint for adults with disabilities for the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. So we've been pretty heavily involved, even though we're, quote, a vendor. We're also clinicians, so we've been pretty heavily involved with a lot of aspects of this particular topic.